Pregame.com.
Broncos +6 at San Diego, Sunday NFL. All right, Marco, this is our special video. Look, you're nervous.
I don't know what's going to happen.
You're nervous, aren't you? Is your disdain of Tebow, but some people think, as Shakespeare said, doth protest too much, is that maybe there's some love for Tebow. So here's the question. Right now, how are you handicapping Tim Tebow?
It depends on the situation that he's in. Last week, he was in a great spot. And we do a blog for Denver and everything. And this is a situation last week. They played at home on a Thursday. Jets had to go on a short week. We talk about it all the time, how that's a disadvantage. And then we talk about it like with Navy and college football. When you face a quirky offense that you're not used to seeing, it's hard to adjust in a short period of time. So last week was a great situation for Denver. If he wins this week, then I'll believe. But I don't think he can win this week.
So what you're saying is that if he loses, like every team loses now and again, or almost every team. You're saying if he loses this game, it will be proof he's not any good.
It won't.
But if he wins his fourth straight game as a dog, now I'll take him seriously. I mean, this guy can't win every game. The question is, right now, how good of a quarterback is he?
As far as an NFL quarterback, he's not very good. I mean, that's the fact.
So he's like 4 winners, 1 loser. Right. Orton, who is supposed to be good, was like 4-12.
You know,
I'm confused.
You're a poker player.
That's true.
Have you ever lost a hand to somebody that's far inferior to you?
Yes.
They get lucky. They get lucky.
Yeah.
They catch.
So this is just luck at this point. It's pure luck.
At this point, the way they're winning is not sustainable long term in the NFL.
So you heard the Steve Young word. That's good. That's good. We should have Steve Young on. Well,
I actually like Steve Young. Yeah. That was one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Let's get past all the BS. Dustin, put up the proof that Marco's in the closet with Tebow. Is it up? All right. So right now, no. Marco, just one more time. Let's leave it up for a minute. Is you're saying you don't think Tebow's any good?
I don't think he's an NFL quality quarterback.
All right, you can take it down, Dustin. All right, listen, here's the point. I think you guys are all missing the boat. And I also find it ludicrous, and I mean, that's a strong word, but I'm going to say it again, ludicrous, that everyone's finding every which way to diminish what he's doing. They were 7-point, I think at game time, 7-point underdogs against the Jets. Do you have a big ticket on the money line for the Broncos?
No.
All right, so you're saying, well, let's dismiss this win because it was on a short week, it was this, it was that. It doesn't matter. All those factors were built into the line, and that line said that Denver should lose by 7 points.
And again, Las Vegas sets a number, but numbers are set on public perception as well.
Meaning that what you're saying is that you thought that was a horrible line. Thus, you had a big ticket on Denver.
There was value on Denver on that particular game.
But if there were 7 points of value, you would have been pounding the money line. You're surprised. If I would have asked you, what are the odds of Denver winning that game going into it, what would you have said?
I'll tell you. Ask me a different question and it'll answer.
Why don't you ask yourself?
I am.
You'll win this debate for sure.
I've been betting for 30 years. Ask Marco how many times he's bet a 7-point underdog on a money line.
How many times have you bet a 7-point underdog on a money line, Marco? Okay.
The only time I'll bet a money line is if the line is
did you
2.5?
Did you give Denver out to your clients?
I used a different game that night that I liked better. But I didn't give the Jets out.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you would have liked 2 games, you're not forced to only play 1 game a night, right?
But I just didn't want to get into the hype of the Tebow game.
So it wasn't clear that the line was inflated to you.
It was clear that the line was inflated to me, but I still didn't want to get it because there's one area that unfortunately they have not fallen into this. And this is a week that they could if Phillip Rivers could just throw the ball to the right colored jerseys. You realize that in a couple of these games, Phillip Rivers completed more passes to the opposing team than Tebow completed in the game. Tebow had a game where he had 2 completions. Rivers completed 3 to the other team.
So here's what it is that I think, and here's where I think that this is fun. We have the fun picture, but this is where I think the real
I'll let you know if it was fun on the picture later.
This is where the real value comes from, is this conversation, which is, let's look at Baltimore in the NFL for a second, all right? We've got a Baltimore team that goes in and beats Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Let's give out an example of a great performance. And then by the same token, they'll lose to Seattle, okay? Now, if that isn't an extreme case of that the ball bounces funny sometimes, but also that motivation is a key element in the NFL, and you as a motivational handicapper, it's one of your strong suits.
I think I know where you're going with this, and if you are going where I think you are, I agree with you. You're thinking that Denver and the team have something to prove because everybody's telling them.
I don't know about something to prove. I think they're just excited. This guy, here's the thing. If you're not religious, a lot of people who aren't religious, and to be candid, I grew up Catholic. I'm not a actively religious person right now, but I can see that when people are really religious, it bothers a lot of people, right? And it also bothers a lot of people when there's a guy that people seem to want to follow. This Tebow guy is the kind of guy that even these guys on ESPN that are killing his mechanics say, you sit in a room with this guy for a half-hour interview and you walk out thinking he's one of the most mentally tough, one of the nicest, one of the best leaders you've ever met. There's a guy that's taking his team on his shoulders. And he's saying, listen, if it's 4th and 1, I'll get the yards. If we need a 3rd and 10, I'll get the yards. It might not look pretty, but we're going to win. And you watched that Jets game, I'm assuming. When he scored that touchdown on the scramble, it looked like they won the national title or that they just won. They're going to the Super Bowl. This is an excited team. And there's no way are they going to be flat. We're always asking ourselves, what is the motivation? Is just the very fact that they're max motivated is where the value comes from.
They're 5-5 in a very weak division. They win this game on Sunday.
But what you're saying, they were 1-5 when he took the first snap, and they were motivated there. It's not about the standard. I'm worried about, am I going to get my playoff bonus? I'm worried about. It's saying that there's a guy in that locker room saying, let's do it, guys, and they're responding to it.
This week, with a full week of prep, now they got 3 extra days to prepare for San Diego. So for my
so when we do this video next week,
no, I'm going to say it ahead of time. They do have an advantage that they've got 3 extra days on San Diego to prepare. So advantage, put the check mark there for Denver. They could possibly put another wrinkle or two into this office with those extra 3 days. That's another plus for them. The flip side of it is they're getting a Denver Bronco team that their season is on the line. San Diego, that their season is on the line Sunday. This team's lost 5 in a row. If they lose this game, they're done. They're not coming back from it. And I know we've talked about, and me and you have done it, you've brought this point out year after year on the Chargers. They've always been a strong late November and December football team. They always started slow, and then they finished fast. They're in total disarray. If Turner can survive this year, God bless him. I don't see there's any way he survives this year.
I think the situation might be extreme enough that it's a negative at this point. It either is, hey, let's all rally together and do what it takes, or it's, hey, this is a sinking ship.
I think it will be the latter the minute that that the playoffs are out of it and you're looking at a lame duck coach, and that would be if they lose this game.
Fair enough. So my takeaway is this, is the fact that you've made a living out of your ability to divine when a team is going to be motivated when they aren't. It's amazing to me that you don't see that he is a perpetual motivator. At least right now. Who knows? It might be, I'm sick of your crap, dude. We're 4-10. It's next year or whatever. But right now, this team is excited.
They are, and the players.
And you can't admit.
The players.
Seattle was excited. Baltimore wasn't. Seattle won.
I agree with you 100%. In this team, because let's face it, John Fox, the head coach, has publicly said Tebow's not a quarterback. John Elway has made some statements that's gotten him heat. John Elway, this is how much Tim Tebow is loved. There is not a bigger icon in the state of Colorado than John Elway, or in the city of Denver. And when he's getting heat for saying something anti-Tebow, that's a legend. That would be like, Pittsburgh Terry Bradshaw.
Did you see Moneyball?
I did see Moneyball.
So the concept of the book, and it kind of comes across in the movie, but not totally, is Billy Beane was the perfect baseball player prospect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is 6'3", the right body type. There's a amazingly funny line in Moneyball. I think it's one of the best lines. Is they're saying, we got to knock this guy a notch. His girlfriend's average looking. They're like, what?
Yeah, I remember that line.
They go, if he's got an average looking girlfriend, he has no confidence. And then someone says, but he can hit. He goes, nope, she's a 6 at best. Cut him. So put him off the list. And that it really shows you how things like words like he has the right body type, he has the right throwing motion, he has the right. And it strikes me, ironically, that Elway came out as one of the best quarterbacks. What they're saying about Luck is he's the best prospect since Elway. Elway has had the highest rating coming out of college of any player since 1980 or something. All right, but let's be honest. If Elway would have retired 2 years before he did, and this is one of those hypotheticals for sure, he would have been known as what?
Like Dan Marino.
He would have been, but like Dan Marino, or even a little bit less.
A little bit less, because Dan Marino put up mammoth passing numbers.
Exactly.
But
so a Fran Tarkenton type, and he would have been known as a guy that fell short. Now, how did he play the last couple of years? He was more of a game manager in those with his running back than he was early when he was doing amazing stuff on the field. It's kind of ironic. It's almost like this Billy Beane thing, except Billy Beane learned from it. Said, listen, you guys thought I was the best, and I ended up being an average major leaguer. He quit after like 6 years or whatever. He said, I'm not going to care about that stuff, bone structure in their face. I want to know, can you play the game? This guy, he's got national titles. He's 4-1. He was 1-1 last year. At what point are we going to say all this other stuff doesn't matter?
Sometimes it's very simple, and I'm in the horse business and breed and race horses for going on 3 decades. It comes down to heart, and I go to horse auctions. I've been to horse auctions all the time. You see people buy yearlings that they'll pay a couple $100,000 for, and they turn out to be rats.
Put up the picture as he's telling this story. Go ahead.
But it's because
this is heart. Right.
People will buy on pedigree, confirmation, because they look the part. They are
like Tebow looks the part.
But if they don't have the heart, it doesn't matter. If that horse doesn't have the heart to go out there and race, it doesn't matter. You could buy an ill-bred thing, and if it has the heart and can do it on the racetrack, it ends up.
But aren't you? Is that why you have your hat with Timmy on it? I love Timmy.
Yeah, that's why. Thanks, Dub, from the pregame forums.
All right, guys. Listen, like I said, I'm projecting. To be honest, I can't project too far off the line. I feel like an idiot. But I'm not surprised that Denver wins this game. I'm going to project. Quite frankly, I do. This is a rare game. Let's say this video's gone a while, but let's take one more minute. I think you play Denver on the money line, or I think that you either pass the game, or if you like San Diego, lay the points. I don't see the points mattering here. Now again, they very well could. But what I'm saying is, let's be honest, would you want the money line if Tebow's got the ball down 3 with 80 yards to go, right?
Well, if I was getting 6 and he was down 3, I would rather have the ticket and feel pretty
I guess
sure.
that's the question. Yeah. Would you or wouldn't you? Because you'd get double the payout or plus even. Yeah. So, the point I'm making is I think that the bubble might burst. Because let's be honest, if Denver gets down 17-3 or something, they're going to have some trouble. Now, I know they came back the one game. I think if this is a close game, Denver pulls it out. And if it's not, San Diego, might just blow them out. I would not be shocked if San Diego won this game by 24.
One last point, one thing that if it does get into that situation that's going to work against Denver, because Tebow has pulled so many miracles or rabbits out of the hat, whatever metaphor you want to do, normally teams get a 2-touchdown lead. Sometimes they milk the clock and quit attacking. I don't think they would do that with this team.
With Rivers, that might be a good thing for Denver. All right, so I'm not, I had a projection of San Diego winning the game by less than the number. I'm not sure that my opinion here isn't take a half unit and play it on the dog. I do like the dog here, Denver. Okay, guys, remember all of our videos each week are in one super thread in the forums. You can go there directly at pregamevideos.com. We're talking about the videos Show notes are put up by the handicappers, and if you have any questions, you can ask them and get an answer from your favorite handicapper. Talk to you there.